In the last video, I have completed every vanilla mission on Rank S, unlocking the Medal of Valor achievement. But now I was ready to tackle the real challenge, the World and The Hermit achievements. You get both for completing the game on Ironman Mode with a ladder requiring you to not lose a single officer. If you didn't know, Ironman Mode is basically permadeath. If you die at any point during your playthrough, your save gets deleted. That's it. So I expected the Medal of Valor achievement to be way harder, even in comparison to these achievements. So I thought I would breeze through this in a few hours. Oh, and a few hours it was. I began by starting a new career in the aforementioned Ironman mode and went straight to customizing mine and my teammates' loadout. You know, I gotta get that drip. But I just went with vanilla outfits because I'm kinda boring like that sometimes. But don't worry, the drip will come later. So I began the journey at the 4U gas station, and yes, I read through the briefing before every single mission, and no, I don't remember anything. But I wanted to be fully immersed, because I couldn't just be running around like when doing the Rank S. I had to be careful and slow and methodical. One mistake and I could start again. And I really didn't want to start again. Anyway, this mission was obviously a breeze. On to the next one. The San Uriel condominiums were full of armed suspects who were very trigger finger happy. So obviously I had to prioritize my officer's safety. If a suspect looked sketchy, in his dome he would catch it. But on a serious note right now, after playing with the taser and pepperball gun for so long, it was really refreshing to be able to just one-tap a suspect. Although at this point the rules of engagement still somewhat applied. I didn't just go around shooting anything that moved. My main goal was to arrest as many suspects as possible. But I also wasn't afraid to use breaching equipment like the C4s. My next call took me to 213 Park Homes, a house full of meth junkies, or actually two houses. I heard that sometimes they tend to off themselves, so this made me hopeful because they would just make my job easier. There was some chaos at the bridge, but I managed to put the suspect in his place. I cleared the second house from the ground floor and I left the tunnels for last. After witnessing everything, they have surrendered peacefully. A homeless guy gave us intel about some shit going down in the row, so me and my team, we raided the place, and we found ourselves in a pretty deep shithole. We arrested the main suspect, and whoever didn't feel like giving up, got shot. Sullivan Slope in McCade Falls was our next mission. Some crazy ex-USIA psycho who lured me into a cabin full of traps. However, I was obviously smarter than that, so I didn't just run in through the front door getting killed. The only one who got killed was the main suspect. We got multiple calls from Brissaco luxury apartments that the terrorist group barricaded themselves inside. Some hardcore veterans, so me and my heavy-hitting FAL got to cleaning up the place. The suspects who didn't give up their guns gave up their basic human rights, and the FAL chambered in 762 was the pen that signed their waivers to the morgue. Slowly making my way through the apartments, I rescued all of the civilians who were unfortunate enough to be at home during this failed coup attempt. After the last casing's echo ring through the hallways of the wrecked apartments, me and my team picked up the remaining evidence, leaving us with another mission complete. The next target was the Mindjot Datacenter, and I equipped my team with some gas masks. We were about to clear the place out like an exterminator clears out a rat's nest, or better yet, like the Germans did. The confidence in my and my team's abilities was at an all-time high. I was determined. No, I was sure that I was going to complete the game and ace it on my first attempt. We were synced. I mean, we were the goated team in our prime. When we were clearing the last server room, that's when I noticed it.
On me. On you. Entry team to talk. I have one up and down. I want to see police.
I knew this would happen at some point eventually. You know, everything was going too well, and in fact, I was too confident. Maybe even naive, thinking that I could breeze through the game on the first attempt. Unfortunately, in the end, it was my fault. When my team was clearing the server room, for some reason, I was having trouble taking out the grenade launcher. You know, I didn't know which button it was for some reason. Listen, I don't know what I was doing, but maybe if I had been quicker. Well, these things do happen. I had to pick myself up and get back to it, you know? While I get back to the Mindjot mission, I think I should also talk about and try to explain the condition of the achievement. Not losing a single officer might seem straightforward, but it is actually kinda vague. You see, my officer didn't actually die, he just got incapacitated. That is because one of my teammates had the medic trait, which makes it so that if an officer gets killed during your mission, he doesn't die, he just gets incapacitated and sent to the hospital for 3 or 4 missions. And I thought that it wouldn't count as losing him, because what other purpose would the medic trait have in the game? I searched on the internet, but I found inconclusive results. Actually, I didn't really find much information at all, so I didn't want to risk it since I wasn't really that far into the game. What I did find out though, is that when an officer goes into therapy, that doesn't count as losing him. Not sure why, but it might come in handy. Anyway, slowly making my way through these easy missions. What the fuck? Huh. I guess the gas really is explosive, although this has never happened to me before. Well, I tried again.
Got your back.
This is Talk. We've lost contact with the suspect and have reason to believe they may have placed multiple traps throughout the premises. Exercise extreme caution.
This time, I wouldn't think twice. If a suspect looked at me wrong, if just a muscle twitched in his hand, I would shoot. I grabbed the shotgun so that each shot would guarantee that the target wouldn't be a threat anymore, either to me or my team. My teammates became worried, anxious, some were even stressed. They saw some things that they weren't sure what to think of. But I reassured them. Only until we get back to the point where we were before, I said. Then we would continue how we were supposed to. Unsure whether to believe me, they did stay by my side. Until the Mindjot mission, which we this time cleared how we were supposed to back then. Thanking them for staying by my side, we continued where we left off. I came to what must have been the end of the earth at Coyote Beach. A small family doing illegal business. I tried to make sure that no one was killed. Unfortunately, one of the suspects was shot and he didn't make it. A sad day for the family, parents especially. A shootout happened at the Los Sueños Postal Service, and we were called to clear the place out. I cleared the front first, then the outside, and then the dreadful loading and packaging area. My teammates have now seen that what happened before was just a misunderstanding. You know, I was just protecting them. They were now much less stressed and anxious. You know, the ends justify the means, or whatever they say. My next mission took us to the Vol Health House, where the threat level was very high, so I had to be ready. Luckily, most of the suspects realized that it wasn't worth to lose their life over some rich man's money. So thanks to this, we cleared the house fairly quickly. Basement 2. There was one suspect left, however, and honestly I had no idea where he was. So I was looking around, then all of a sudden... Whew, too close. An active shooter situation at the Watt Community College made us act very quickly, but the high risk of this mission made me act carelessly. I was too focused on making sure my team wouldn't get hurt that I completely ignored the civilians. However, my carelessness made me make a huge mistake. I had thought this classroom was empty. At this point, all bets were off. There was no such thing as a suspect anymore. There was only a target, and my gun was always aimed at the center of it. The rules of engagement changed from hold fire unless being fired upon to kill on sight. My team, we were no longer a police force, no longer a SWAT unit. We were a full-on military squad equipped with the best equipment, ready to exterminate. The drip was finally there, as well as the firepower. No longer were we equipped with police-issued guns. We were equipped with a high-caliber military arsenal. One shot of 7.62 was enough to bring down even the most armored enemy. The priority was no longer to arrest as many suspects as possible. I mean, there was no score at the end. There was only either mission complete or mission failed, and the latter was not an option. The only goal was to get to the end with every member of the team alive. Some of my teammates became traumatized, falling into crisis and requiring to take some time off for therapy, but that did not stop me. That didn't even matter to me. I had a clear goal, a vision, and I was willing to do anything to achieve it. I cleared the outside of the Costa Vino Border Reserve before moving into the tunnels. My teammates managed to talk some sense into me, and I decided to ease off the trigger a bit. Since these quote-unquote suspects were giving up easily, I decided to make an exception because of my team. But the moment a suspect lifted their gun just a bit, the lead was headed their way. I brought the trusty FAL to the Clement Hotel, knowing that I would not give any chances to the enemies. These guys were not planning on giving up, and I wasn't even planning on giving them the option. The shots from my FAL echoed through the hallways and floors of the hotel, followed by the thumps of lifeless bodies. Nearing the final stretch, an unfortunate end befell the civilian. She had been shot by my stray bullet. However, I ignored her, as there was only one enemy left.
Talk. Suspect killed.
The Neon nightclub in the downtown of Los Sueños was the high-risk operation. This mission was not to be taken lightly. Knowing that there was an unknown number of suicide bombers, my heart rate began to rise, as I knew that even one slip-up would mean the end. That is why I didn't even think about lowering my gun. The moment I saw any movement was the moment I pulled the trigger. The adrenaline pumped through my body as I saw that even civilians had bombs strapped to them. I slowly moved through the club, clearing it. When I was nearing the end, I saw this civilian with a bomb vest strapped to him. My heart rate must have been through the roof, as I was debating whether to just shoot him and not risk getting near him, or saving his life. You know, there was one suspect left somewhere, and he could blow him up as soon as I got close. I decided to risk it.
Turn around. Keep your hands up. Lead to talk. Back it up. Stay.
Next up was the Caesar's Cars dealership in North Hills. Clearing it was not an issue for me and my team. There were no special hazards here, we just had to move carefully. My teammates also weren't as stressed anymore. I had enough of them in my roster to just swap through them between the missions. The Cherriesa farm in Santa Vino was the mission in which I realized how close I was, and it dawned on me that I could not afford to make any mistakes anymore. I knew that this mission was not so difficult as long as I was careful. Actually, none of the last missions are necessarily difficult. It's just the mistakes that make them so costly. I was very lucky at this moment. This could have ended horribly. Also, for some reason, in the end, there was always one suspect left somewhere. This kept happening for the last few missions, and I hated every moment of it because I was on the edge during the final moments of each mission. The Coastal Grove Medical Center was the second to last mission. I cannot even tell you how sweaty I was at this point. Were I to fail during this, honestly, I would have given up. By the way, I was also playing this throughout 2 days, which truly didn't help. This whole playthrough up until this point was done on the second day, and I just wanted to have it over with already. I made it through the mission, but in the end, one civilian was left, and I had no idea where he was. I roamed through the hospital looking everywhere, even sending my team to find him, and when they didn't, I was afraid that he was bugged somewhere, unreachable. That's when I remembered that maybe I forgot to cuff one very specific civilian at the beginning. And there he was. The last mission in Port Hoken. This was it. My heart rate was through the roof. As always, I cleared the outside first. Then, I moved into the warehouse, where the suspects gave me a really hard time. Then I moved to the last area, the auction room, and when I saw the bring order to chaos message, a 50-ton boulder fell from my heart. We cuffed the remaining civvies, and last but not least, closed the doors.
Sweeping. Doc to element. Time for debrief, folks. Mission complete.
To clear my mind and to take in what I had gone through, I went to the evidence locker and looked at some evidence for like 30 minutes. But with that, I have managed to survive the Ironman mode and have gotten the World and The Hermit achievements. You can also see now that the condition of losing an officer is really vague, and I would love to know if the medic trait saves you from having to restart the campaign. I have also gotten the developer's ruined watch and with the newest update the Dress to Impress achievement as well. Anyway, in the end, looking back at the whole playthrough, I actually really enjoyed it. I also hope that you enjoyed the video, and thank you so much for watching until the end, and I'll see you in the next one.